how did you as an economist find yourself looking at buildings and building health, Stephan? Was it pure chance, an accident? How did you find yourself here?
Maybe a mix of both in that regards. I did my master, my first master here at Maastricht University in the Netherlands, and I did it in sustainable finance. And I'm really a child of that master, because the idea of this master is we want to invest into sustainability within the finance sector, but we want a return out of that one. And there I also started to have this general interest for me in health science. I'm an economist by training, but I like to learn a little bit more about how the human body works and how we can maybe connect this understanding of human biology with some financial questions. Then it's by chance that this PhD position years ago popped up, which basically combines these two fields. So I was lucky in that regards that I was part of a real estate finance team and I was part of a human biology team. So I really could see the medical faculty side and the business side and could really combine this together, which also means, of course, I'm standing here today saying like we should do more interdisciplinary work, because this is exactly how I grew up. This is how my PhD was shaped, right? By trying to solve problems which were not solved yet, or trying to find answers to complex problems through the lens of interdisciplinarity, through the lens of combining different knowledge together. And for me personally, it combines my interest in finance and economics, but it also combines my interest in human physiology, human health, and understanding how the human body works.
Yeah, and that interdisciplinary side to this equation is fascinating, isn't it? When you start to pull in the economics, the building physics and engineering, the chemistry, the human behavior, the health, this is a battle that requires multidisciplines to win. Otherwise, we would have fixed it by now. The engineers would have convinced everybody that they needed to. We was having a conversation with somebody. We were saying we're trying to imagine what a building would look like if engineers wrote the rules.
Or if economists wrote the rules.
Yeah,
right?
God.
It would be also not the best building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would be the cheapest material, probably.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? There's probably some good cartoons. What would happen? What would a house look like if so and so invented it? Might stick that into one of the AI tools, get them to imagine different buildings. But it's true, isn't it? I mean, you need that rounded, holistic view. Plus the fact, particularly in the real world, this stuff has got to make sense to people. It's got to be framed in a certain way. And, an engineer isn't going to convince another engineer to invest in a building. An engineer has to convince a financier, or, somebody in health has to talk to a scientist. We have to be able to talk across disciplines on this subject.
Well, and it humbles you, right? At least it humbles me in terms of I just know what I don't know, right? I have seen that health scientists and economists are basically talking about the same question, but one side is doing laboratory studies, the other side is doing observational studies. One side says, we do a lab study, we change this one factor so we can talk about causality. The other side is saying, well, we use all these econometric statistical models, we can talk about causality, right? But in my case, it really humbled me in terms of it is important to listen to the other side, especially for me being in a field dominated by engineering. There is so much more I need to learn from the engineering side, but this communication needs to happen somehow. And for example, Joynen he's a good example, because despite all the criticism of his statements from a scientific point of view, because of course we scientists, we always have to criticize each other. That's part of the game. What he does very well is he's communicating these ideas of healthy building to a much broader audience. Yeah. And that I find really interesting and really admirable, because I can sit here as an economist, as a scientist, I can do my studies, I can publish them very well. Who's going to read them, right? And he really showed us in a very nice way how important it is to get people outside of academia on the same boat. And for that, you need to be able to speak different languages. And that comes from interdisciplinarity.